concept of a lunchbox with wings. The goal of this FD Spear is to give you the ability to have lots and lots of equipment without lots hopefully full autonomous systems and long-range systems in the future. Now, if you haven't ever built with us before, we have free plans that are available. Download, the link is down below. But we also have speedbuild kits to make the building experience much quicker and simpler. This build can be done in 2.5 hours if you use the speedbuild kit. Now would be a really good time also to send up your servers. We're only going to need 2 of them for this build. It's also very important at this point to build your power pod. Now this power pod is dimensioned the exact same as our classic swappable power pods, but it's much shorter and unfortunately it's not swappable. So there's a link down below that you can go to build it before, but just to let you know, it's still the 8-fold. The only difference is it's a little bit shorter. And the firewall is going to go on the side of the narrow notch. Another thing we did a little bit different here is you can do the traditional X mount, but you can also use the hardware inside of your motor kit if you're getting the CPAC and actually screw it through the back. And you'll see 4 little drops of hot glue. That's because even though I use Loctite, I want to make sure everything's locked down nice and secure because this section is going to be very hard to get to in the future. Along with building our power pod, now would be a really good time to make sure it's turned in the proper direction. To do this, we're going to simply hook this up to our receiver that's already been down to our transmitter, and we're going to make sure it runs the way we want our prop. Now typically what you want is you want your prop to run in a way that's going to cause it to spin in a way that's always going to keep the nut tight. If you only have a standard prop, you're going to want it to spin in a way that makes the nut loose when you're in a pusher configuration. So let's go ahead and get our materials in order and we'll get started. In this portion of the build, we're going to be joining our wing halves, gluing together our spars, installing the spars, gluing over our wing folds to make our airfoil, and also installing our rear wooden wing spar. So the first thing we're going to start on is also the biggest thing, and that's going to be the wings. So let's go ahead and punch out our wing panels, and we're going to be taping these together. Now that we have our wing panels, we're going to go ahead and flip them over so the score cuts are facing down. Once you're happy with the fit, we're going to tack it in place with 2 small pieces of tape, and then go over it with a big piece of tape. Now I have the tape a little long on both sides. That's for a special reason. We'll show you in just a moment. Let's go ahead and flip this over 180 degrees, and we're going to put glue along our seams. Now if everything lined up okay, you should see that these edge marks line up perfectly. We're going to open this up, and we're going to put a nice healthy bead right in the center section. With the hot glue, it's very easy to burn through the tape, so be careful. Now we're going to lay this flat. If we put enough glue in, you're going to see it squeeze out. That's exactly what we want. We're going to come back with a piece of scrap, and we're going to smear it smooth. Now I'm going to hold this flat against the table because it's very important with wings that they're not warped. Give this about a minute and a half to dry. Once everything's thoroughly dried, we can go ahead and fold over the front and the trailing edge. While everything is nice and flat, now would be a really good time to do some reinforcement before we move further. We're going to go ahead and take our thick 2-inch tape, and we're going to place it on this back edge on both sides of the inside of the wing and the outside of the wing. For added reinforcement, we're going to go ahead and add a 2-inch piece of tape just on the trailing edge right at the very back of the wing. What this is really used for, we're going to go ahead and guide this wire down in towards the center spar. Now there's a couple holes in the center spar that we're going to be able to reach down through with a pair of needle nose and grab our cable without having to use anything to really snag it with. There we go. Let's just go ahead and drop that down in here for now. Now included in our kit are 2 push rods. These push rods are plenty long where you can almost do this twice over, so if you mess up, don't worry too badly. Along in our kit, we also have these control horns. Now for this plank, since I had extra real estate and also since this elevon is so wide, I went ahead and made the control horn a little bit longer. But this dimension here is the exact same as our classic 20 count control horns that we use so often. So don't worry if you don't have this. I just figured since we had the extra real estate, we might as well use it. Let's go ahead and press this down. And you can see that I'm kind of holding the back end of it here, just for a quick test fit. Now we can go ahead and guide our push rod from the inside point out on the very top hole. Now it's a good idea here. All wings have a little bit of reflex. We have a little gauge over here that's going to help us with kind of getting that all figured out. What I like to do is hold this gauge up here, and with my other hand, pull this taunt up against it, and we're going to go to the middle hole. Now, if you're flying a lot of AP and you're flying really smooth flight, not really racing or getting maneuverable, you can go all the way in the inside most hole. But I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of. You can route this down internally and have your ESC sitting right here, and then have your battery cable coming out the side. Problem with this is that ESCs do like to get hot, and this isn't really good for service. So what I'm going to do is push these inside this cavity, which we have plenty of room, and mount my ESC just like you see right here. We'll drop a hot glue, or you can use double-sided tape if you want. Set it right down in. Now to make sure that we keep this area clear, I'm just going to put a little tiny drop of hot glue on this back edge right here. That's going to go ahead and keep the wires from getting in my way, but if I ever do need to service them, all I need to do is break that loose. You can also poke 2 little holes and use it ties if you wish. Now that's glued down nice and tight. We can go ahead and do one last test fit where we're going to route everything through. Clip into these front notches, make sure it sits down nice and flush. You're going to see it pops out about 1/8 of an inch. That's so I can trace this with hot glue and get a nice tight bond. Now that we test fitted and we're happy, we can leave it right where it's at. Nice long bead on both sides. Anytime you work with an undercut camera and your GoPro, lenses are going to be far apart from each other. So here's your GoPro. Here's how it's going to strap in. You want this so this is going to be facing, if you're facing towards it to your left, or if you're behind it to your right. That way when you have your board camera on the edge, just whittle this out until it's nice and smooth. For this front piece, I don't want to go up too far, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my square or a ruler, and I'm going to go ahead and keep this just above and put a nice cut right along here, nice and straight. We can always go lower, but we can never go higher. So just go just about to where the furthest point on the outside is and make a nice straight cut right there. Now we can go ahead and test fit our piece. So now's the time we're going to go and test fit. Now this is going to be a very, very tight fit, so don't go ahead and just push it in one thing, in one motion. Go ahead and start from the very top, and with a rocking motion, go ahead and slowly ease it down until the top surface and the sides are flush. Just like that. Now, at its current state, there's no way it's going to fly out, but if you would like to glue it down, go ahead and just smear a bead of glue around the outer perimeter, so if you do have to remove it later, you easily can do so. We're now ready to install our props, get our CG, and take her out for a maiden. So to get proper CG, what we want to do is we want to load it up exactly where we're going to fly it. So at this point, put all the gear, put the props, put your GoPros on to make sure you can get your CG where it needs to be. The next time that this turns on, we'll be outside ready to maiden it. And we're also going to go ahead and put our GoPro on. So for this one, I don't have any FPV gear on it. We're going to be flying line of sight, so I don't need to really worry about anything else. We can install that later. So now when I hold this up, it should be pretty naturally balanced, but you're going to notice just a touch tail heavy. This is going to give us a couple options. If we want to go long range, we can put 2 parallel batteries on both sides here and here. Show what it looks like on the other side. So for 2 battery setup, we would slide this in on both sides here and here. We can also fit 2 batteries parallel here and here. But in general, right about here is the magic spot. So if you're flying a 2200 3 or 4 cell, go ahead and put a strip right down the middle, and you'll be good to go. Look for future episodes showing how to put vector systems, FPV gear, and getting us all tuned up. We're going to cover that in a later episode, but we do have really good content from the past that'll help guide you through this. I'm just going to cut this loose. So we're about 3 inches forward from the back firewall, so 3 inches from this point forward. And what we want to see is a slight nose tipping down. It's really hard to balance a wing. But as long as you see it bouncing level or slight nose down, you're in good shape. It's always better to test fly a plane with a little bit of nose weight favoring forward than tail weight. We are now ready to take it outside and maiden it. All right, we are all set up. Now, this is your first maiden. We're going to have a link below. 6 quick tips for a successful first flight. They'll give you all the basics to kind of double check and go over and make sure you have the best odds of having a good experience. Let's go ahead and get her up and see what happens. Feels great. She got 30 here. How much zoom do you have, Dave? How much zoom? How small is it up here?
All right, let's go ahead and slow her down here. Nice thing about this plane is I really love how it slows down.